Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm using cookie cutters to make this cute little wall plaque. I'll also be using IOD molds and Debbie's DIY paint. And guess what? There's a bonus angel included. So come along for a ride on my heart gondola and I'll show you how I made these. I picked up this little Christmas decor at a thrift store. Because I'm still recovering from rotator cuff surgery and I have limited use of my right hand, I asked my husband if he would remove the joy for me. And he said, and I quote, "Honey, it would be my pleasure to remove your joy." I decided to keep him because not only did he remove the joy, he also sanded the board with 220 grit sandpaper. For this project, I'm using Iron Orchid Designs air dry clay, but you guys, I'm too distracted to continue this voiceover. I mean, I've heard of opposing thumbs, but are your thumbs supposed to oppose each other? I mean, this is like the tale of two thumbs. They're bipolar thumbs. What is going on here? It's like the Oscar and Felix of thumbs. And if you don't know who Oscar and Felix are, you really should look them up, and you're not very old. Oh boy, y'all, the squirrel is real. For this project, I'm using the Juliette mold by IOD and these cookie cutters I found on Amazon. I will leave a link for these in the description, and anytime you use one of my links to make a purchase from Amazon, I will get a small compensation, but your price won't change. Originally, I hoped I could fill the entire mold with clay, and then when I took the clay out, I could put all of the cookie cutters on top of that one big piece all at the same time. Well, it is just a lot to fill the whole thing with one hand, especially my left hand, which I admit I'm wimpy. I have a wimpy left hand. So I decided to do it just one section at a time. But when I'm better and my other hand is usable all the way, I'm going to try that. I think that would be pretty cool. Ideally, to remove the mold, you just lay it upside down on your work surface and pull it back. You might have to use a fingernail or a spatula to get it started, but the gravity is actually what gets the clay out of the mold. I just can't do that because I have this sling contraption brace thing on, and well, actually, you know what's in the way? My camera and my I can't bend over that far, and my light and my camera are in the way. And you know, all the big YouTubers have one of those light rings, right? Let me tell you how I found my light ring. It was on the side of the road on garbage day. We ran over it with our pickup. I said, "Wait, back up." And he started back up. I said, don't back up straight." And he's like, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "Just wait." And I jumped out of the truck and I went and picked up the light ring, brought it home, and it worked. So now I can be a big YouTube star. There's not much else to tell on how I did these, so I'm just going to speed this up for the next part and you can see how I made them. I think this is a good time to point out the struggle I'm having without being able to hold the mold with one hand while I put the clay in the mold with the other hand. It's moving around a lot. But y'all, I wanted to leave it in here even though it kind of moves because I want you to see that if I can do this one-handed, you can do it with two hands. And here are my finished heart rose molds. This wall plaque I'm using is kind of like a box, so it has really wide edges or sides. So I'm using trimmings too to make some molds to go all the way around the outside of the box. Do you see how easy it is to smooth off that extra bit of clay around the mold? That's because Iron Orchid Designs has what they call a micro rim all the way around each of their molds. And did you see how easy that popped out? That's just gravity, and I did not use any cornstarch to help release these molds either. When you're making these molds, it's important to use one continuous piece of clay. That way it's less likely to have cracks in the finished product. Some people use what they call measuring tapes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't need that. I just use the box. I buy my Titebond Thick and Quick glue from Amazon, and I'll leave a link for that as well. I put it right on the mold, and then I rub it in with my finger, and that way I get just the right amount and it won't smush out around the edges. When you do that, it just looks messy. Even if you put paint over it, it's hard to cover that when you do it that way. So we're going to start with the edges, or the sides, I guess. Edges, sides, yeah, whatever. I'm making sure that none of the connecting parts are on the corners. Now, Iron Orchid Design Sisters, or whoever in their employ thinks of these designs, is just brilliant, because they make them so that they put them together. And you can see right here, I just used my finger a little extra to push it in place and make sure that it's real smushed together. And it will still probably have a crack when it's, or not a crack, but a space when it dries, because it does shrink a tiny bit when it dries. But Heather from Create Your Own Cozy had a video where she showed everyone how to add just a little bit more clay in that when it's dry, and it looks really good. I couldn't even tell where the pieces were connected to each other. For this last piece, I'm just figuring out where it connects, and then I'm using a knife to cut around that shape to make it fit. And this style was pretty easy to do because of that shape, and because the pointed ends just happened to hit up right in the perfect spot. I'm going to figure out the placement of the hearts, and I really messed with this kind of a lot, so I'm just going to speed up on this part. Oh, and my favorite mold with all the different little stems and everything, yeah, that one didn't turn out so perfect, but it was okay, because in the end I was just able to kind of smush stuff together, which I actually did with quite a few of these, and it looked even better. When the glue was dry, I went ahead and gave it a full coat of red spray paint, and the clay wasn't dry, and that's okay. I never wait that long. I have a hard time waiting for just about anything. I then added just a little bit of glitter. I love glitter, but not too much. And this just made enough to kind of pop through, so it's a little blotchy. And I also put some of that around the sides. After letting it dry all night, I put on Debbie's Design Diary DIY chalk paint in White Swan. I did one heavy coat and let it dry. Then I used a small paintbrush to fill in the areas that didn't have complete coverage. Debbie's chalk paint is super pigmented, so it doesn't take a lot, even if you're doing a really light color over a dark color. I sped this up quite a bit so you don't have to just wait for the whole process. But I realize when I'm doing the voiceover that because I just sometimes hold the brush in my right hand, that doesn't work right, and I use my left hand to move the object, it's pretty whoa. Woo, woo. Sorry about that. You could play a drinking game. Every time Heather does the fast motion and makes all this stuff move, you could have a drink, but you're probably already that dizzy anyway. So we're going to start wet distressing. I already did the front and don't know where the footage went. It's super easy. Wait till the paint is all the way dry, and because the paint underneath has a sealer in it, it won't wipe off. So when you wipe off the chalk paint that reconstitutes with water, it shows what's underneath it. You can use anything like a wet wipe or a paper towel or a regular towel to do this. I like to use whatever's cheap and close by, and this time it was this black towel. When you get the level of distress that you want, go ahead and rinse out your towel and wring it out real good, or grab a new wet wipe or paper towel and just give every surface a once over, and that will just get off any paint that's left behind after you distressed it. Because chalk paint can be reconstituted with water, you have to seal it, and I like to use Vanishing Act Big Top After Show. This is another product from Debbie's Design Diary, and let me tell you, it is so popular. I watch a lot of other influencers who sell different paint brands but still use Big Top. And here is our finished product. Isn't that sweet? I wish I would have thought about using it as a shelf sitter. I would have either sanded down that bottom mold underneath, or I would have maybe not included it, but I love how it turned out. So no regrets. It can hang on the wall. And now it's time for our bonus angel. I found this in a thrift store for I think like $2. It has a broken horn. You can achieve the look that I'm going to make with this angel with almost any object, even if it's not gold. If it's not, just go ahead and spray it with some gold spray paint that has a sealer in it and give it one good thick coat. After that, everything is pretty much like I showed you in the last project, so I'm going to go ahead and just speed this up and let you watch. I don't need to do much talking, so there's a first time for everything. Isn't he cute? Ugh, you guys, I wasn't even gonna do this, but when I went out to my she shack to grab some supplies to work in the house, because it's freezing outside, I saw his little gold foot sticking out, and I thought, oh, I need to do this too, because I love to make that gold shine through when I use the wet distress method. I want you guys to know that a couple of times I have been out on the interwebs and I saw my video from somebody I didn't even know. They had shared it from somebody else who shared it. And that was an amazing feeling. So if any of you are here from something like that, would you please let me know? And would you consider giving me a thumbs up and maybe subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell so you won't miss any of my new stuff. I try to get it out there as often as I can. I appreciate you guys. It's been a fun ride. It's happened so fast. I just can't believe it. And I am so excited to see what happens in the future. Until you see me next time, I hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.